We now welcome Dr. Osvaldo Arce, who is the General Manager of Minera Tupiza, the division of Eloro Resources, which is responsible for the development of their Iska project in Bolivia. Osvaldo has over 25 years of experience as a geological and mineral processing engineer, and as former director of the Bolivian Geological Survey, as well as the main technical advisor to Bolivia's National Mining Corporation. Osvaldo will tell us more about the Bolivian tin belt and about Eloro's tin project. Thank you.
Thank you, Freddie. Good morning. My name is Osvaldo Arce. I'm a Bolivian geologist. And I am working now for two Canadian companies. One is Eloro, and the other one is Cartier Silver. About 2 or 3 years ago, we started this exploration in Bolivia after probably about 50 or 60 years that very few people were doing some exploration there. So here we can see the tin belt is in the Andes of South America. It's about 1,000 kilometers in length and about 40, 50 kilometers in width. So it's crossing basically the Andes region of Bolivia, about 90%. There's about 5% in Argentina and 5% in Peru. By the way, one of the main mines in the world is located in Peru, just across the border from Bolivia. It's called San Rafael Mine. So here we see the map where it's located, Bolivia and Peru. Basically, this is one of the main regions for this contribution to the tin industry. So it's about 130, 140 years that we have these countries, especially Bolivia, contributing this. And one of the main actors was Simón Patiño. Simón Patiño discovered a big mine around 1895, and he became one of the probably fifth millionaires in the world. So he found a very interesting deposit called Yayagua, and he was exploiting some tin even with grades about 40 or 50%. So here is the meteorological belts in Bolivia. We have all the western region are the Andes. We have the western Cordillera first to the west. Then we have the Altiplano or the highland. Then we have the eastern Cordillera where is located the tin belt. Also, Bolivia has not only an Andean region, but also has the Amazon type, which belongs to the Brazilian Shield, which is go to the eastern part where is shown Precambric or Precambrian. So we have another type of systems, but also tin, because we have the Rondonia type tin, which is a granite type, or Rabikibi, but the other ones are related basically to hydrothermal types of systems. So here's the tin belt with several important projects. We have about 2,000 occurrences of tin. But not only tin, but also polymetallic with silver, zinc, lead, basically. That's overprinting a former, we call orogenic gold, zinc, and lead belt, which happened about 320 million years. Now the tin belt's about 15. So it's overprinting that. So sometimes we have remobilization of former metals there. So you can see in the just crossing Bolivia, San Rafael mine, it's in Peru. And in the southern part, Pirquitas in Argentina. That's the extension of the tin belt there. So there's a tertiary magmatism, as I told you, that's 15 million years. That's bringing all the information about the subduction. There is a plate, oceanic plate, that's just subducting the continental plate. So this is forming a very thick crust. So we have that. In the world, there are two thick crusts. One is the Andes, in the central Andes in Bolivia, and the other one is in Himalaya. It's about 80 kilometers in thickness, which helps the preservation of the heat because tin needs high temperature. So we have here also, it's showing This in the upper part or the northern part, we have more tin related to tungsten, and in the southern part, we have tin related to silver. So we call in the northern part related to plutons, kind of Cornwall related, and the southern part more related to domes and stocks. So it's the upper part of the system. So we have here the subduction plates. When you have a higher angle in the subduction, you have more volcanism, and when you have a lower angle, you have more collision type. So forms the mountain ranges. So both are very important because we can have the thickness and also the shortening of the crust. So it really helps the relationship between the intrusions that we have at granites, basically, that are hitting all these overlying sediments. For example, we call the slate belt, which gives some reducing conditions for tin deposition. That's different to the oxidizing conditions for copper porphyries. In this case, it's more reducing. So here's the thickness of the crust, about 80 kilometers. You have in the central part the Eastern Cordillera, where we have the tin belt. It's basically coincides with the higher mountains, which are about, in many cases, up to 5,000 meters. There's a very acidic environment where you have, for example, dacite or rhyodacite, which are more favorable to tin mineralization because there's a lot of contribution from crust to the magma. So the magma is initially more mafic, lots of biotite, lots of hornblende and all this, but it's changing gradually to more acidic with lots of quartz. That's the last host rock for mineralization. So here we are back to this one of the former slides where we are seeing all the relationship between these types of tin-related components. Like we have the tungsten in the northern part, more silver. So this is contributing to have with the different types of deposits. In some cases, we have tin with silver, but if we have more frequent pulses of mineralization, it becomes more enriched. So we have like 3-4 million years that the system are circulating, and as you have more time, the deposits is more enriched. So in the right hand, we can see a model where we can see the Cerro Rico, which is the rich hill, which is the richest silver deposit in the world, that also contains tin. And then we are separated a little bit from the intrusion. For example, Yayago, where I was telling you before, that's more in the intrusion. So we have the upper part with the dome, which is a recent event, and the old event, that's the intrusions. So between them, there are also other projects that are more in sediments, but all of them are related to these high temperature systems. Here we can see the belt in the Miocene times, about 20 to 6 million years, where you had the different angle of the subduction. So we have in the early times, we had this volcanism first, and then when it happened, the volcanism, we had the empty of the magmatic chamber. So we had a collapse of that system. We had the change of the subduction angle. And promoted the plutonism with lots of intrusion. And finally, the last, in the Miocene 9 to 6, stopped mineralization, and we had the actual conditions, which is it's more like a normal angle, but we had already the volcanism, the collapse, the resurgences, and then we had the actual situation. So the volcanism starts in the lower part with the soft mineralization in the crust with the mantle-derived arc magmas. Then we have the accumulation, the hydration slab, 40 to 50 kilometers, and we had this amphibole type that's with the plutons. Then we have the accumulation, decrease and disappearance of the mineralization in the later part. So the porphyries we have in Bolivia is very similar to the tin porphyries, the copper porphyries, but in this case we are in a more reduced environment. There are very large tin accumulation. For example, Yayagua, it's a million tons of tin. It's a low grade, usually about 0.3% tin. And they are more almost exclusively in Bolivia, rare in China, Siberia, Australia, Canada. There are felsic intrusives and telescoping, which is the mixture or combination between high and low temperature minerals. So Yayagua and other tin porphyries are disseminated, reshaded, stockwork mineralization in a very strong ulcer zone, quartz sericite and quartz tourmaline at depth. There are veins with quartz, bismuthinite, cassiterite, pearlite, frankite, stanite, sphalerite, chalcopyrite, sphalerite, siderite, sulfates, carbonates, phosphates. So the early ones are about 500 degrees, and the lower ones about 150 degrees Celsius. So we have the mixture of them, or the combinations, is we call the telescoping, so which in many cases are showing about 60 types of minerals in each deposit. So this is the Yayagua, which was the main producer in early 1900s. So we have over 500 million tons produced with 0.3% tin. So even now we still have about same volume or same tonnage. Of course, the high-grade veins, they're already mined out, but we still have the horse rock that's showing this 0.3% tin. So this is intrusion. That's just intruding sediments, which we have basically shells. There are other like siltstones and sandstones. Here's the intrusion, several veins, especially in the western part, whereas we have a fault in the central part. Then there are about 20 or 30 important veins. They are ranging from 0.3 meters up to 6 meters in width. So many of them, they had a very high grade in tin, up to 50%, and some veins remain now with about 1%. So this is a cross-section showing this type of veins in the central part of the fault, and these veins which can extend up to 1,000 meters from surface. So this another one is Cerro Rico. It's a rich hill, which is the richest silver mine in the world. Also has contributed a lot to the world economy about 500 years ago. Even now, it's still undermined. So there are about 30,000 people that goes daily to work at that mine. So it's very important because in the central part there's still tin, but the upper part is basically high-grade silver. So here's another important tin porphyry called Chorolque. So the Chorolque is also an intrusion. It's basically dacitic. It's also felsic or lots of quartz. And there are very important veins up to 2-3 meters. And some grades are about 4% right now. So it's operated by cooperatives together with the Comebol. So the horse rock also, there are Ordovician, sales, and siltstones and coarse sandstones. So there is Eloro and Carcio silver are related, as I told you, about 3 years ago in the country. We were working before in Peru, but then we moved to Bolivia because we think that there are lots of opportunities. And in these 3 years, we discovered 2 important deposits. One is Gonalbert, which is about 30 kilometers from Iska. It's in the southern Bolivian Andes. And this is showing very high silver. And in the lower part, we have some tin. So we just have 3 holes already drilled with very interesting results. So we are planning to have the next couple of years developing this project. Here we can see the high silver. Sometimes it's the average is about 300-400 grams silver. And in the lower part, we had about 3 to 4% tin. And on surface, we found also some veins which are grading over 15% tin. So this is the great discovery. We have a major tin polymetallic system in southern Bolivia. You can see in the map in the right hand, so it's close to Argentina. So this hill is about 1,300 meters from the level of that valley, but the altitude is about 45 30 meters, so 4,530 meters. And this area was explored by many companies, but we had on surface very low grades. So many people they were discouraged because of these low grades for several metals. But nobody drilled until we did 3 years ago. We have already 110,000 meters drilled in about 170 drill holes. And we had an initial resource of 670 million tons containing 1.15 billion in situ ounces silver equivalent. And the total in situ metal estimate is 298 million ounces of silver, 4.8 million tons of zinc, 1.74 million tons of lead, and 130 tons of tin, totaling 1.15 billion ounces silver equivalent. So this will be by far the largest polymetallic deposit in Bolivia, and probably one of the main in the world. So this is location again, so it's in the southern part of Bolivia. There are about 2,000 occurrences of tin, but we just have about 7 operating mines. So that means that we don't have much exploration, and we are planning to reinforce the exploration the next years. We are looking for important financing now, and probably we can have very good results in the future. So this is Iska. We have several zones. The central breccia pipe is a phreatomagmatic. It's a very explosive breccia where it's redistributed the tin and other metals. And we have the other hills that also have important contents. And we have an open pitable area which is called to the eastern part, the Santa Barbara breccia pipe, which we can have probably about 290 million tons, grading about 60 or 70 silver equivalent, and will be open pit about 1.5 kilometers by 1 and by probably 500 meters. That's the other ones are more underground, but with the high grades. So this is a plan map. We had a porphyry type in the central southern part. It's a caldera, which means a volcanic, initial volcano that was collapsed, then resurgent, was reactivated during the geological time. Then several domes and stocks were formed, and the mineralization was distributed in all these rocks. So we have the different rock types. So from sandstones to intrusion breccias to granodiorite, phreatomagmatic breccia, medium-grained dacite, phreatic breccia. All these are showing the connection between magma and the aquifers, and also the implosions that are not only explosion but also explosions that are just redistributing this mineralization that was in the early stage, just in the intrusion. So some important drill holes intercepts are showing, for example, these 441 meters, grading about 150 grams silver equivalent. In the case of tin, we have grading from 0.02 to up to 0.14. So we have basically some kind of these grades. I mean, they can be upgraded with ore sorting. We are already testing in Tomra in Germany about 700 kilos that we sent, and with a very high recovery. So we are getting, for base metals, we have 90% recovery, and for tin, we are about 60% so far. So we can have a very long intercepts, so showing that the system is very large. So we have the distribution. So we have, this is the type of systems we have there. So the inferred resources is showing there with 1.15 billion ounces of silver equivalent. So this 3D model is showing how we could have the early stage with a tin, then it's overprinted by epithermal or lower stage mineralization too. So this was going to give us a very important polymetallic resource in the world. Thank you very much.